to their time pool now for their ban. Looking at deciding ETC. Now, Battlefield of Eternity has a strong team fight element to it, in the sense that you need to either protect your Immortal when it spawns, and because of that, you're not going to send one person to attack the Immortal. You're going to send probably your entire team to either attack or defend. So because of that, it creates a lot of team fight situations. So removing ETC from the mix, the boys banning it out, saying we don't want Plantronics Nv having any really strong warriors in this mix, any strong lockdown. Because Mosh Pit, 3-man, 4-man, 5-man Mosh Pits, they are team wreckers. And this is only a 2-lane map, so they can easily, get 1 or 2 fortifications down in the space of a 5-man wipe from a really good Mosh Pit. So, boys, removing that. And also, ETC is currently considered one of the very high tier tanks, or the highest tier tank as well.
Oh, yeah. It's his ability, as you said, when you've got a coordinated team with, other teammates that can help you get the lockdown, sort of lay the foundations to get a beautiful mosh pit off, he is a monster, and he locks down so much area, and he's such a successful bully with sort of power slide face melt combo. So, it's a good pick to ban, and I think it was a smart one. So the boys have gone in there straight away taking Zagara. They played it last game. So what do you think of the Zagara pick this time around, Disco?
It's early on the mix. Zagara gives the good lane pushing pressure, right? She can sit there pushing a lane. When the Immortals come up, if the Immortals is in the lane closest to Zagara, she can continue to push the lane while your team either attacks or defends, and your team goes more on that poke. Plus, if she's left unguarded, pushing with the Punisher, a lot of power, can rotate away from the Punisher, push in a different lane. The vision as well, putting a vision in the map with the creep, just knowing where your enemy is, when they're coming to defend or when they're coming to attack, it's just giving you that map awareness.
Definitely, that's half the battle won already. If you can anticipate where they're coming from and get the edge on them, it's half the battle won. So I agree, and we saw so much value out of
this Lunara pick coming out of Plantronics so early on?
I think it's interesting. They're going to have to build around her to keep her safe, but it's a very solid pick on Battlefield of Eternity. She's just got tons of damage. She can shred through that Immortal, as well as, like you said, she can also provide vision, and she can poke. Most importantly, she has poke when she takes her heroic talent. So I think it's a very solid pick. And a smart one as well on Battlefield. Like you said, brawler-centric, vision is everything, she's got a slow, she can poke. Same with Zagara. Zagara also offers poke, and we saw a lot of the damage coming out from the Hydralisks on the red team last game, on Pesky Fan Club. So it's good that, I guess, they've got poke to counter the poke Zagara can also bring. So it's good. And we're seeing Diablo as well as their front tank. So I'm glad to see Diablo. We've seen him do a lot of amazing things, especially with his Apocalypse down in narrow corridors. He can lock down so much of a team, sort of similar to what ETC's Mosh Pit provides in another way, I guess.
Yeah, it's and again, the Apocalypse. Oh, it is an interesting one. So I'm not sure if we'll see Apocalypse. Like, we possibly could see Lightning Breath actually coming out of Diablo. So the Apocalypse, you normally take in response to, say, ETC being chosen, because you can cancel out the Mosh Pits very effectively. And depending on what their plan is, if they're using ETC's Apocalypse as a big stun mechanic to kind of lock all enemy heroes in place, or to capture 2 or 3 as they're trying to retreat or escape, this map definitely provides those corridors. But I've got a feeling we might see a Lightning Breath, just to try and burn a lot of damage onto Zagara, Li Ming, and Thrall. Just they're all quite low health pool heroes. Thrall obviously has the Phosphorus resistance, so he can. It's pretty good survivability, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking. I just feel we might have a Lightning Breath Diablo.
I mean, I'm not going to say no. It makes a lot of sense to me, especially the way you explained it. So
you want to say no? You want to say Disco? You're crazy.
No, I don't. I think Lightning Breath is a very strong heroic talent, especially, like you said, taken on a map where, you can lock down an area and get that extra damage off, because he becomes unstoppable in it. So that's another big thing as well. You can't stop the damage. You either take it or you run away. So, yeah, it's quite powerful.
That's it.
Especially when used the way you described. So, yeah, I see it happening. I'm seeing the basis of their team. And we're seeing another Uther picked up. I think Uther's loving it. Like you said, he fell out of favor, but let this King of the Hill series show that Uther is back, baby. He's back in town, and he's here to stay, it looks like.
That's it. Reclaiming his rightful place up within the one or two support picks. And look at that, Arthur's coming out. Arthur's receiving a lot of love recently as well.
Yes, I think he's one of your favorites, and with good reason. So take us through, what are Arthur's strengths, Disco, and what makes him such a good hero?
Recently they changed a little bit about how he worked, and effectively he's just has the highest survivability now in those fights. He sort of covers that sort of they call him a tank, but he does do a lot of damage. And he can obviously press his D trait, Frostmourne Hungers, to get a lot more damage out. And it's just having that ability that when someone dives him or goes into a team fight, he can push damage onto him. He's got abilities that allow lockdown or slow down in place. He'll get great against those dive heroes. And it's just, he has a presence in a fight. Where before he was a little bit lacking that, a little bit lackluster because of his survivability. They've changed that a little bit. They've improved how it works. So that's why we see him a little bit more coming back into the play. He still isn't as mobile as a lot of other techs, and he doesn't quite have, say, what the Diablo has in displacement, or say Johanna has something in the peel. And so, I shouldn't say in the peel, he does. His peeling is fantastic because he can slow down the enemy, but it's not inside the same place as, say, Johanna with the Condemn, or Diablo, or even ETC with a hard stun. So he's quite a high skill cap character as well in that regards.
And now, rounding off the rest of the boys' team, we see Brightwing and Muradin. And there's the Kerrigan. We spoke about it. Kerrigan rounds out Plantronics Nv's team. What do you think of this Brightwing pick as a support? We know that Brightwing recently had a change where they're just sort of tuning her. They felt like the, I guess, buffs that Blizzard gave Brightwing were too strong, so they toned down a bit of her healing to better bring her in line. But what do you think? What are your thoughts on Brightwing support?
I think you gotta look at their options. So Rhaegar was banned out earlier on in the draft. So that left them, until Uther was picked, they left them with Uther, Kharazim, Brightwing. Bam. We see Plantronics Nv, they take Uther. Alright, so that only leaves us with, say, Brightwing and Kharazim. Kharazim, in this lineup for the boys, you've got Muradin, Thrall. They're your sort of frontliners. Possibly going to be positioned, close together. But if they're positioned close together, you've got the takes of Arthas or Diablo doing something to displace them together, or the lockdown, locked in place. And Kerrigan was coming as well as the Brightwing pick is good against that. Because Kharazim would have been either had to be next to Thrall and Muradin, so he would have been caught in a lot of those effects, or he would have only, if Thrall and Muradin were separated, his healing's not to that greater benefit because he's a bit of a AoE healer.
Yeah.
So they've gone like, well, his healing's going to be weak regardless. So let's pick up Brightwing. We can look at a hero diving in. So Kerrigan dive in, we can polymorph on. Diablo comes in. We can do something with that polymorph. We have a bit of global presence. It's going to help with the Zagara, because Zagara gets in trouble or maybe a little bit caught. You can see Brightwing rotate to her and sort of help out there, save there. So I think the Brightwing is a good pick in that regard. I think the Brightwing is a good pick from the stance of who else are you going to pick in this lineup. But Brightwing is still powerful, especially because Plantronics grabbed the Kerrigan at the end. She's not going to be able to dive in and get off a lot of damage when Brightwing can come in and just cancel it with a polymorph.
Oh yeah, definitely. I thought it was a smart choice too. Just I like hearing your thoughts on all the different support champions and just why you think they went for them. And I think you summarized it beautifully, not as also a last resort, but who fits, I guess, the team better. And then Plantronics selected Kerrigan, and it sort of, like you said, just added more value to that pick.
That's it. I mean, but that's a really nice, a really cool thing Plantronics and Nv has done there. In fact, they've gone to Kerrigan and look, we don't care about that Brightwing pick. We're going to force through it regardless.
Oh yeah, force through the wall. So I'm just getting into the lobby. Is everyone accounted for, including yourself?
Yep, well, I'll be doing a rotate onto a different machine.
Okay, not a problem. Pesky, technical difficulties tonight.
Only the best problems.
Oh yeah. No, as long as you've got a workaround around it. I mean, which you have. So my hat goes off to you, Disconga.
Alright, so I believe we've gotten... Looks like everyone is... I think everyone is readying up and getting ready for Battlefield of Eternity. So if you're just joining in, this is the A and Z King of the Hill series. We have the current crowning kings, the boys, coming up against Plantronics Nv. Plantronics Nv, while we're last time actually knocked out by the boys dethroned them, took their crown, but now they're back this week to try and take it there. Take it back to them, reclaim it, get the throne, get the hill, get everything back into the rightful hands of Plantronics NV.
They're both going to be playing their hardest. They want the crown. Both sides. We've got, Plantronics NV. They want that crown back. They've tasted the crown. They know what it feels like. They want to be king of that hill again. And then we've got the boys, who are the current reigning champions. I think they want to end this tournament as the crown kings.
Well, they want to be the big dogs, and they have shown us so far that they definitely have everything to be the big dogs, just playing so well. Well, I guess they are currently the big dogs, while still in that position there. And, they're only 2 games away from holding it. But 1 loss, 1 dethroning, and that's it. They lose it. It's gone. They will never wear the crown again.
Well, not never, but not this series.
That's
it's done. Once you're knocked out, there's no coming back next week.
The
it's
king
now
of the molehill.
Exactly. And it looks like we're in the loading screen. Yes, as I said, so excited to see this map. Cannot wait. Love the Immortals. Love the team fights that it brings out in the brawling. And we're all just in for one hell of a ride. So.
It's a great map. So remembering Plantronics NV were known as DragonNinjas. So if you're not quite sure who the team is, remember that they were the DragonNinjas, now sponsored by Plantronics. Plantronics NV versus the boys. Battlefield of Eternity.
And please forgive us, casters, if in the heat of the moment we accidentally refer to them as their old name. They'll know who we're talking about. But please forgive us. We'll try our best.
Alright, so we're in the game. So on the left side of the map, it is still the current kings, the boys, where we have Benjamin, 94 playing Thrall, Robodoba on the Muradin, Arcana on Zagara. We have Brightwing as Dasbirds, and Ninja will be your Li Ming.
And on the red team tonight, the challenging team, we have IY on Lunara, Enagan on Arthas, Hiccup on Kerrigan, Moves on Diablo, and Hux on Uther. And looks like the teams are off, Disco.
That's it. It's started, and both teams are doing a little bit of a mid-circle aggression here. There's no mid lane, just mid position. And Hux a little bit far forward, but no one from the boys really punishing him for any sort of playing. And this is really just your standard slap and meet and greet slap fest.
Slap fest. Pleased to meet you, slap. Yes, there was a bit of that going on, wasn't there?
A friendly handshake. Alright, so the team is sort of split up there. So we've got Thrall and Arthas in the top lane. Everyone else in the bottom. Pretty basic on this map here. Zagara, people be looking like, well, why isn't Zagara by herself? If Zagara is by herself, if any sort of lane or specialist is by themselves on this map, they have the potential to get caught out, and they also just get back. They can push a lot harder with their team than without that. Plus, you get these top lanes here, Arthas and Thrall. They can just survive by themselves. They don't need support. So they're really just sitting there to soak the experience. So Hiccup and and Hux rotating up to the top lane, trying to punish here. Oh, they actually do capture out Benjamin. Combo going down. Follow-up stun by Hux. Wasn't necessarily needed, but they still got the takedown anyway. And that is why, if you had Zagara by herself, that would have been 100 times easier. Benjamin almost got away, but it was like a pixel difference from escape just then.
So true. And as you said, that's why Zagara didn't go top. It would have been another story sort of sung completely. I mean, we might have seen the escape from Benjamin. Like you said, it was a pixel away from it, but Zagara, no way. curtains would have been closed. And they're fighting on the sort of first immortal here.
Well, actually fighting on top of Roadoba at the moment. Almost taking him down. He did have to leap out of it. He should be able to return to the fight pretty soon, so you just see the boys here will probably position themselves to just keep poking. You see Moops taking a lot of damage, but no strong commitment to take him out. High Cup went in there, got the stun back on Benjamin 94, but we see Robodoba come back in. Kerrigan falls, a little bit of bad damage, and Moops fall next on Diablo, and White has to back out, does come back in to put a little bit more damage onto Robodoba, try and discourage the chase, but they... Oh, Hux coming in. No, there's really no one there to follow up.
No, Hux isn't going to bite the bullet and die for no reason now. As you said, you sort of judge on Uther whether it's beneficial for you to just die and become that pocket healer, or whether your life is better spent alive so you can at least stun and follow up the rest of your support abilities. So he saw it and he's like, nah, we're coming back for part 2 of the Immortal fight. So it's interesting to point out there are 2 general sort of stages of the Immortal. Once they get half health, they have to rotate on, and this is where you can sort of make a comeback if you're from behind, whether you can defend or attack. So it's not really over per se, and the first immortal isn't sort of the be all end all. It's just normally if you lose the first half, you can sometimes come back in the second half. It just depends on how teams play it. And so we're seeing first immortal secured to the boys.
So one thing to note about the ending there, so both immortals, so each team, you could have think like, are they racing to try and kill the immortals? We saw on Plantronics Nv, they looked at their immortal and went, look, we can't take our immortal, we can't win this trade, so let's damage theirs as much as possible, so at least we can drain its shields, because the more health it has, while in that sort of immortal defense attack stage, the greater its shield does when it actually comes out.
Exactly right. I couldn't have said it any better, Disco, and thank you for filling that in. It's very important to know, as you said, if you were confused why they made that call and why that play was made. So Hiccup just missing his combo there and taking a lot of return fire. I don't even know if they can stay around to defend this fort. What do you think, Disco? It might be a bit suicidal.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough for him, just because High Cup really can't go back into it and sort of do anything. He has to back out, and Moops is also on low health as well. So they just have, they just have to give it up. You're 100% right. There's no...
It was suicide staying under there. They would have just all gotten wiped, the ones who stayed. And now we're seeing a lot of pressure. They're taking the first siege camp up top, the boys. They're keeping their pressure. We know that the boys, they can smell blood. If you give them an opportunity, they're going to go for it. They don't hesitate and they don't muck around. They take the objectives as soon as they sort of see that it's safe to do so. And like you said, they're very respectful of who they're versing. And I guess that's sort of one of the big contributors to their success in games. They sort of know how to read the game and set up for objectives.
Yeah, they do. Just looking at the opportunity here. So we do have all 5 members now from the boys in the bottom lane. This is possibly a chance for Plantronics Nv here to sort of get back in a little bit. However, Lunara is rotating down. I would have liked to actually seen Lunara or someone stay in that top lane and soak the experience. I mean, they're still a full level down, and we're coming up to level. It will be level 8, level 7 soon. We're sneaking close towards level 10. And the team that gets level 10 on this map had a huge advantage because they can force a fight much easier because there's only 2 lanes on the map, so there's not a lot of places you can kind of go as a team. So first team to hit 10 can force a fight a little bit sooner.
Oh, definitely. That's what they're going to be racing towards. And once again, as you said, even though you wanted someone to stay in the top lane, I guess they made the call that it just wasn't safe. There's a Muradin, there's a Brightwing, there's just a lot of walking CC. No one wanted to be caught alone, especially when another fight, it's just too close to the Immortal. So I guess that's why they did that, but I agree, they have to start worrying about that sort of level deficiency, because if they get caught out without their old heroic abilities, at level 10, it's going to be a world of disaster for them. And both teams have taken mercenary camps to help them with their push. Both teams have taken their bruiser camps, so it's interesting to see, I guess. We've got the boys rotate and clear it because they want to defend as much of their base as possible. And same to a certain extent, we have Plantronics Nv go do the same. So it's interesting to see. I mean, are they going to fight for this Immortal now that the threat of the bruises has been gone? What's the plan here? What are we going to see, Disco?
I think this is a tight spot Plantronics right now. Is they can't go and attack the boys Immortal at all. They need to sort of hard defend here. And look, they're obviously looking for a pick. That's what they're trying to do right now. Is look, we've lost this. Let's see if we can get a pick. Moves position to try and throw Leeming over the shoulder. Didn't quite connect. And the blue team can just sort of keep fighting, keep poking here, and eventually wear down this Immortal. And you can see, look at the Immortal. Every time the blue team comes in, it's a little bit more damage that is just going on to it. They'll eventually win this fight, and the only team winning from extending this fight's duration is the boys. Their lanes are pushed in strong enough or further enough that they're winning this by doing this. Benjamin does get cleansed out of that. The combo came up from hike up. IY's on a low health. We see Murden go and try to sort of finish off IY, but not possible. But they do descend, turn around on the Arthas instead and get the kill. And this is totally what the boys were just trying to do the entire time, is just try and get them to get Plantronics Nv to make a mistake here. Now that was a really nice play there by hike up actually. Not that it's really going to go anywhere, but it was actually just a really nice attempt to do something.
Definitely. We're seeing, it's okay, now that we've seen the teams in action, it's apparent that Plantronics Nv, they're in a lot of trouble. They're a mostly melee team. Lunara is their only form of range damage, and this is why the boys are so good at poking them down. They really just have no answer for the poke except for going in, and they can't because the level advantage, it's really high now. It's 3 levels, and it might just worsen now with the Immortal hammering, sort of hammering at their gates. So, I mean, what can they do? They can try to stall it out, but they still don't have their ultimates, and the boys just don't seem to be stopping. It's full steam ahead for the boys, especially with their Immortal up as well.
Yeah, this is just... I mean, we've seen Plantronics Nv come back from this level deficit before, so not saying they're out just yet. History dictates they are pretty good at surviving. But the boys just aren't giving any opportunity to get back in. They've got to recapture experience. They can't do that now. They're not level 10. They can't see... even if they send someone to a lane right now, it's not going to help them. So they need to be defending this core so hard. They just need to be so careful here. This could be the end of the game. Look, the big maul comes out, capturing in 3 heroes, and just taking out 2 heroes dead. It's done. I'm calling it. The game is done here. It is going to the boys. The question is, can they do it? It's not even a question anymore.
It's not a question.
Not even
it happened
10
as
minutes.
soon as you said it. Not a new personal best by the boys. They just take